So, wow, you guys are the special souls who on such a hot day, you still came to the temple. Give yourselves a round of applause. Just see the devotion you have for Sri Sri Radha-London Ishwara. So, our class today will be given by one member of our community, originally from Hungary, joined the Hare Krishna movement in Hungary. Did you ever live on the farm in Hungary? But you went there sometimes. Used to visit the farm in Hungary, the Hare Krishna farm in Hungary. Now he's part of our congregation here, and now he is called by his initiated name, which is His Grace Gokul Chandra Prabhu. Gokul Chandra Prabhu will be giving the talk today. And Prabhu, what will the talk be about? Today's talk will be about conflict resolution. Oh yeah, that's another talk. Could be. Today's talk will be about conflict resolution.
That's great. Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone for coming today on this hot day, after being fried probably. So we will start with this song, which you can see on my right side. It's an old Vaishnava song, and I think Radha-London Ishwara Prabhu explained it 2 weeks ago that it's a complete picture of a holy place in India. So it's a wonderful and beautiful song, and it's a tradition that we sing this before the class. I'm not a singer, I'm not a musician, but I will attempt it. Please forgive me for any mistakes. So the format is the same as before for the kirtan, call and response. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. So thank you everyone for participating in this beautiful song, Jai Radha Madhava. The first question, who is here today for the first time? Haribo. So very welcome, all of you, warm welcome. So it's very inspiring to see new people, or maybe not new people, but coming here for the first time. It's very inspiring to see. So fresh energy. So today's topic is conflict resolution. I'm not going to give a life coaching seminar or class. First of all, I'm not qualified. Secondly, it would take a few days. But I will pick a story from one of our old books called Srimad Bhagavatam. So obviously for conflict resolution, we have a conflict first. That's the first step in the process. So there will be a conflict between great personalities actually. So conflict doesn't only happen between, crazy people or, lowly people. Even amongst the greatest personalities, conflicts can happen. So this conflict is from one of our books, called Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very subjective, but I would say after the Bhagavad Gita, it's one of the most important books that we read in our tradition. So it's a very important book to read, really. So the topic I picked today is a life of Prithu Maharaj. So there was a king in old times, in ancient or Vedic times, as we call it. There was a king called Prithu. Maharaj means like Raj is king, Maha is like the Maha mantra, great. So Prithu Maharaj was a great king. And when I say great king, I really mean it. So not like the leaders in today's world. So he was ruling his kingdom with according to religious principles. very, very nicely, taking care of the citizens. Yeah, so he was like an ideal king of his time. He was actually also the incarnation, as we say, or the Prabhupada used to say, there is no proper word for this in English, avatar, but he was an incarnation of Krishna. So he wasn't directly Krishna himself, but he manifested some of the potencies that Krishna has. And that's the ruling potency, actually. So that's why he was a king, right? So, yeah, he was a very good king, taking care of his citizens very nicely. So, do the leaders take care of the citizens nicely in today's world? Any part of the world? Probably not, yeah, I agree. Yeah, the opposite. So he was a great king. Does anyone know what Prithu actually mean? What his art? What? Anything else? Prithu. Land, cow. Anything else? So the translation I found, it's always my pleasure or desire to always look up these names. The definitions I found is large, great, important, abundant. So those are, yeah, quite nice words. So yeah, his name is wonderful, and as we learn his character as well. So he was very calm, very grave, very much equipoised. So no one was basically against him, really, in his kingdom. The citizens liked him. So that would mean in today's world like an election with 100%, you know. So that sort of thing. So yeah, actually in the Vedic times there were many kings like that, and Prithu was one of them. So in today's world, we can be sure that day after day some bad news will come, some disaster will come. We can be reassured. You know, it's yeah, something. Tomorrow I will hear something in the TV or on YouTube or somewhere, or if not tomorrow, then after tomorrow, and so on. But in his kingdom, the citizens were always sure, although he kept everything confidential as a king, all the dealings. But in his kingdom, the citizens were always sure that something nice comes. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, they were like, they didn't know what is going to come, but always something very nice, something very amazing, something wonderful, something ecstatic. So that's really great, that kind of kingdom. I'm just setting the scene for the conflict. So he was a great king. So, yeah, his kingdom was definitely success. There was no corruption in his kingdom. So all good so far. It's a wonderful story. If we end it here, it would be happy end. So real kings as well, they collect taxes, just like in today's world. But in today's world, they don't really give knowledge to people. I mean, we do get trained in schools about materialistic science, being a doctor, being myself an engineer, and so on, which is useful. By the way, I'm not saying those things are not useful. They are very great. They can be used in devotional service, but there's no like systematic, at least from the government, there's no systematic training in spiritual life. But that's what King Prithu was giving in his life. So he was giving spiritual teachings to his citizens. So not directly himself, but made sure that the priests and so on in his kingdom are empowered to do that. So it was a very, very nice kingdom. There were no calamities, floods, tsunamis, wars in the Ukraine, COVID. Yeah. So yeah, he was ruling his kingdom very nicely. He gave food to the citizens properly. But then, yeah, so when he appeared, actually, does anyone know how Prithu Maharaj was born? It's a very, very interesting story, actually, how he was born. Does he have a mother? No? So how was he born if he doesn't have a mother? How can we be born without a mother? Exactly. So, churning. So it's a very unique story. If you think it's too much for you, just take it as an allegorical story, and I think you will still benefit from it. But yeah, he didn't actually have a mother. As Mataji said, and Prabhu, he was actually churned from his father's bones. So he didn't really have like a material mother. So his birth is very special, like churning from a body. That's like, yeah. But in those days, this was possible. For us, in this age, our brain is very limited to imagine these things, but these are real. So this is not actually an allegorical story. So again, he was an empowered incarnation of Krishna to rule. So I have so much to speak about his life, so I'm just gonna speak the most important things. So when he was born, actually he was born with his wife, Archie, thanks. Yeah, like a divine couple basically. It's actually said it's like Lakshmi Narayan. So Prithu is representing Narayan and Archie representing Lakshmi. So a wonderful, divine, sacred couple, basically, that we all want in this world as well. So when they appeared, the bards, the professional bards, the musicians, they were like singing their glories, because they could foresee the wonderful activities that they would exhibit during their lifetimes. But then, as a nice king, he didn't really take those praises. So he said it's kind of cheating because I haven't actually exhibited those wonderful, qualities, pastimes, activities yet. So it's not proper to, praise me. So he said kindly, thank you very much, but I think maybe it's not proper yet to praise me like that. Yes, exactly. Very, very humble. So easy to take praise, right? We blush and so nice. I feel so good. This is a nice community. Yeah. So he didn't take the praises so cheaply, actually. So that's again to me at least personally, his wonderful character. So yeah. But then the bards could foresee that he would one day, near the river Saraswati, which I think is in India. I'm not from India, but maybe Saraswati, thank you. So it has been in India. It's Punjab? Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. It's like dried up. Right. So traditionally it used to be in India, and maybe it's still there in spirit. So yeah, he would perform sacrifices on the river on the shore of that river, basically on the banks of that river, which is, by the way, a sacred river. Like Yamuna or Ganges, these rivers are like sacred, like very pure. Like often we take, when people go to India, bathe in that to cleanse the dirt, and not just externally. It's effective also internally. So anyway, the bards could foresee this, that he would perform a sacrifice, actually a horse sacrifice. But again, out of his humility, he never took the pride and credit for these glorifications. So he was like a true leader, like very humble, as Prabhu said, very meek. And he knew like proper etiquette, how to behave. So yeah, anyway, Prithu Maharaj resided in India. And actually, many leaders in today's world, they're so proud that they, govern the US, they govern India, I'm from Hungary, they govern Hungary. But actually, Prithu Maharaj ruled the entire world. So who are these leaders today compared to Prithu Maharaj? Nothing compared to that, nothing. So there is a beautiful pastime with Mother Earth, but conscious of time, I will skip that. If we have time, I can say that at the end. And that is actually a lot more pastimes. I'm just going through my notes. So, Prithu Maharaj, one day, he was performing sacrifices. So, in particular, horse sacrifices. Has anyone here attended sacrifices before? Performed by priests, fire sacrifice, 1, 2, 3. I don't know about you, but it's like 4, thank you. I don't know about you, but when I went to Hungary last time for this fire sacrifice, properly recited by priests, trained and professional priests, it was so amazing. Like, just the whole ceremony, the mantras that they recited, it's just such an auspicious, just to be in there and absorb. It's just so nice. Like typically in this movement, ISKCON, we have this at weddings, we have this at initiation, when we accept a spiritual master, and also at other occasions. So anyway, he performed the sacrifice, horse sacrifice, which might be a bit scary with today's thinking. Like, oh, they are sacrificing animals? That's very, very bad in today's age. We shouldn't do that at all. It's not recommended at all. Because this sacrifice in those ages, they were, first of all, they were performed by trained priests. There's no like qualified priests to perform those things in today's day and age, basically. So yeah, they performed horse sacrifice. And by the way, the sacrifice wasn't to eat the animal and such things, like people do it in today's world. Those sacrifices were actually performed by very qualified priests, by proper mantras, and actually the animals didn't really die for the meat. Actually, they got a new body, so they got rejuvenated, basically. So from the fire, typically, actually, they would sacrifice old animals, and a new, fresh body, the same soul, the same animal's soul, would come out in a new body. So it's kind of actually for, not kind of, it's actually for the animal's benefit to get a young body. So this is very sacred sacrifice and that they performed. And Prithu Maharaj was performing these sacrifices one after the other. So 1 horse sacrifice, 2 horse sacrifice, 3 horse sacrifice, 5 horse sacrifice, 10 horse sacrifice. So it's coming more and more, 20, 30, 50, so quite a lot. But not just a lot, but also in quality. These sacrifices were like very, very high standard, very, very good quality. So yeah, the proper priests, again, the mantras, the circumstances established at the right time, at the right place. You know, in those ages, astrology was a thing. So where people would look at, you know, when things are auspicious to perform. So it was really proper according to quality as well. But Prithu Maharaj reached, does any of you know how many sacrifices he actually reached? 99. Wow. Thank you. So, yeah, he reached 99. And why is it a special number? 99. Correct. So she said, yeah, 1 more is 100, and he would. It's kind of like the quality to become Indra, which is in our tradition is a demigod. Like if you don't believe in demigods, then just maybe you can think of Indra as a minister in a government. So yeah, there is the prime minister and then Krishna in our tradition. In other tradition, it's called differently. It's the same thing. And then the different ministers. Indra is one of them, one of the departmental heads. Anyway, so 100 is to become Indra. To become Brahma, that's even a lot more. That's 5,000. But to become Indra, it's 100 horse sacrifices. And so Indra started feeling in danger. Because if Prithu Maharaj does one more sacrifice, he's basically breaking his record. He would break his record. That's Indra's Guinness record, 100. So he didn't want to lose his position. He didn't want to lose his power. So he became really disturbed in the mind. That, oh my God, this person is going to be as good as me. I should sabotage that. Like, no, I want to be the best. I want to remain the best. Which is quite interesting because he was a demigod in Krishna's government. He was a demigod, like a minister. So how could he think like that? So when we think about conflict, like, oh, if I behave nice, I'm not going to have conflicts. No chance. Everyone has conflicts. Sooner or later, typically sooner. So it's really important to learn how to handle this. I don't know myself, but I am inspired by what I read in these books. So anyway, King Indra came to stop the sacrifice. So yeah, like it shouldn't happen ever. I have to stop this. So what happened was Indra, because obviously stealing a horse from a sacrificial arena is not easy, right? Like everyone is here, everyone is there. It would become obvious, right? Like how do you steal? Like it's in the middle, people around, how do you steal? So what Indra decided to do is he took the garb of a renunciate. So dressed in, that attire, basically. And so he was like sneaking in and so on. And suddenly he took the horse and he grabbed the horse and ran away. Well, actually at those times, not just ran away, he could actually flew away with the horse, which is again very unusual for our today's brain and mind and understanding, but he could fly away with the horse. Anyway, he was escaping. That's the main thing. He was escaping with the horse. So what do you think the priests and others did? Did they just leave it, or did they chase, or did they do something else? Okay. Yes, both of you are correct. They were chasing, and in particular not Prithu Maharaj, but as it was said, his son. I don't actually know how his son was originally called, but I will say in a second what name he got after this. Prithu Maharaj's son, he started chasing Indra to get the horse back. Because it was unusual, why would he disturb, like we need to get the horse back. And suddenly, chasing slowly, or actually quickly, got hold of Indra, and he was about to release the arrow, at those times, like Arjuna also from Bhagavad Gita, archers. He would release his bow and arrow, but Indra suddenly, he would disappear. Obviously, he would leave the horse behind. Otherwise, Indra's mission would be complete. No, not this time. Then the horse was brought back by Prithu Maharaj's son. They were very happy. The horse is back. We can carry on with the sacrifice. And at that time, Prithu Maharaj's son got his new name. Does any of you know the new name? Vijita, something more? Vijitasa, yes. Which means? Yes, so one who won the horses. It's actually in one of the Bhagavatam verses. Very good. Wow. I think she deserves a... At this age, I didn't know anything about Krishna consciousness. So wow, what an inspiration. Maybe next life. So anyway, he got the name Vichitasva. So again, if the story ends here, it's happy end, right? It says like, wow, the villain got like defeated. Wow, let's end here. Well, the story is on. Otherwise, there would be no conflict. So they started doing the sacrifices again. Continue, basically. And Indra was still like angry. He was still thinking like very furious. What should I do next? This didn't work out. So actually he came back again, but slightly differently this time. He made the sacrificial arena where this was performed. He brought a very, very dense darkness over the sacrificial arena. And then again, in a garb of a renunciate, he again grabbed the horse, ran away, escaped this time a lot faster. I forgot to say that there was actually a priest who noticed this also the previous time. His name was Atri. He noticed that actually Indra was stealing the horse. So again, Indra ran away. Vichitasva this time. I actually don't know the original name. So if some of you know, let me know. That's the only name I know for Prithu Maharaj's son. So again, he was chasing. He got hold of Indra again after a very, very long time. Indra was so frustrated, but he disappeared again. And the horse was again back. Saved. The horse was saved. Won. The horse was won. So again, the sacrifice could continue. But this happened a few times. Indra was really like adamant, like I really want it. So Prithu Maharaj got really, really angry. Like, what's going on? So what happened? Prithu Maharaj actually wanted to kill Indra. To stop all this nonsense that was going on. But then the priest said, don't do it. We will recite proper mantras, and by the power of mantras, we throw Indra into the sacrificial fire, just by the power of mantras. So, who was the king? Does anyone know who was the king? We actually mentioned it today. Who was the king who by the power of mantras, who was killed by the power of mantras? Vena. So okay, many devotees know. Thank you very much. So yeah, like that. So the mantras were really powerful in those ages. And today's world and day, only the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is what's really accessible to us, which can be found on the other wall. But yeah, in those ages, the mantras were really powerful. So anyway, the priest said, don't kill Indra, just by the power of mantra, we will throw him in the sacrificial offering. So that's what they wanted to do, actually. They wanted to finish Indra that way. So again, according to the plan, this would be the end. They recite the mantras, and Indra would be finished. No more thief, no more mischief, and so on and so on. So this would be the happy end. But then again, just about to start the mantras, just about to start the sacrifice, something happened. So what happened? Okay. Someone appeared. Brahma. So first Brahma. And Vishnu as well, by the way. But first Brahma, Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma came down to intervene. Because how many of you lead teams or people in your day-to-day full-time job? Any of you managing people? Kind of. So
look after the domiciliary
Okay, nice.
Yeah, kind of.
Horrible, very
We have to
nice.
work as a team to
Together. Yes. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. So yeah, I am also not a leader. I'm not leading a team, but I was on the end of Indra or Prithu. That I had to interact with a leader, resolve a conflict in my professional life, and so basically, what the leader typically looks for in those situations is not like, it's not really like punishing one person and the other person is the, like the, you know, yeah, it's just a leader really, a leader's ambition typically is to resolve the situation in a way that both people can carry on doing their services, their work, their activities, and in the end they both feel enlivened and encouraged, inspired. Thank you for the word. So that's usually a leader's ambition. So also when I remember I had conflicts in my personal life, actually in my professional life in work. I remember I was surprised. I thought I was right. Why is my line manager not going to the other person and telling him to, you know, that this is wrong? And I am right. Why is he not doing that? I was at the time very surprised. But then later I realized that for a leader and for the team as well, it's very important that both people are inspired to carry on, solve the conflict very, very nicely. So Brahma came for that reason. Typically there are some conflicts which we can't, it's the last resort, but sometimes we can't resolve the conflict ourselves. Sometimes we have to involve someone. And in this case, Brahma was voluntarily coming.
Like an authority, a higher authority.
It's like an authority, exactly. So even in our movement, if we have conflict with another devotee, because let's be honest, even within our movement, there are conflicts. Even in, you know, between devotees who are like the best friends, you know, in the ashram, in where devotees live, there will be conflicts. Like no illusion that it's not like a rosy cozy, and you know, it's sometimes these things happen, you know, unavoidable. Yeah, once my guru was asked, is it possible to completely avoid conflicts? I said, no way, no chance. So if he says so, I believe. Anyway, Brahma came. So Brahma is kind of like the first created being in the universe by Krishna. So he's kind of like well, almost the main.
A person, a man.
He's a person actually. So he's like us. So actually we can become Brahma as well. If we do many pious activities, if we accumulate good karma, we can become Brahma. So Brahma is non-different. He's a living entity like us, a soul like us, basically. So Brahma came, and so now after this introduction, what do you think that Brahma taught Prithu? In this situation, there is a big conflict. What would he say to Prithu Maharaj? Would he say that I go to Indra? Would he say that Prithu, you are doing wrong? Or would he say something else? What would he say? Anyone? Surrender. And how to surrender?
Yeah, surrender to the conflict. I don't know actually.
Negotiation? Okay. So who should negotiate with who? Just a second, yeah. Who should negotiate with who? See, so what I'm trying to come to, this is not an easy situation. This is not something we can.
This world you cannot become Indra, but next time you can become Indra.
Okay, so one option is that he said Prithu that don't worry about it. In next life you can become Indra. Leave Indra alone now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some long-term solution.
Long-term solution. Okay. Yeah. Correct. We can all learn from her. What's your name again? Sorry. Nice to hear these thoughts. So yeah, so basically Brahma said to Prithu Maharaj that, leave it, stop it. Now imagine yourself as Prithu Maharaj in this situation. You are doing the right thing. Someone else is disturbing you. Someone else is seemingly at fault. And you are told to stop? Like, who is this person? Why is he telling me? Why is he not going to Indra to tell him that, it would be hard for me, personally. It would be hard for me to take it. But that's what happened. So Brahma was asking Prithu Maharaj to stop. And this happened, but why do you think this happened? Why did Brahma tell this to Prithu Maharaj? What was the reason behind? So we know what happened, but why? Okay. You go. Yeah?
Not with the situation or the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Let go.
To let go the conflict.
Yeah, to be like neutral.
To be neutral. Prithu, be neutral, or Brahma, or both? Both, okay. So not taking like sides and being equipoised. Mm-hmm. Sounds good. So yeah, that's partially the reason, yes, why he approached Prithu and not Indra. Because logically speaking, he should approach Indra, right? And chastise Indra, tell him what to do.
Yeah, because he's done the bad act.
Exactly. Correct. Correct. I have a co-speaker. Thank you very much. Yes. So Indra was agitated. He was actually very, very stubborn. Very, very stubborn. Very, very stubborn. And what happens when you approach a stubborn person? Yeah, you blocked. The person will potentially get more stubborn. He might commit offenses. So it can easily escalate. It can easily escalate. Imagine if when you were like angry and someone told you, why do you take it so seriously? You just got more mad, like, who is this person? I mean,
It increases the fire.
yeah, it does increase. It magnifies. And so Brahma actually told Prithu to stop the sacrifice. And as it was said, the reason is that because 99 is fine. Two digits are fine. You don't need 3 digits. And still then someone could say that, well, 10 is also 2 digits, why did I do 99? So much waste. That 10 is also 2 digits. You are telling me now, not after 10? So 2 digits is fine. 9 and 9. You don't need 100. Because this is actually just a numerical comparison. When we say 100 is more than 99, that's a numerical comparison, which mathematically true. So don't say that to any teacher that 99 is more than 100. But contextually, it's very true. Actually, 99 is more than 100 contextually. So in this context, so yeah. Because Prithu Maharaj's character was greater, so Brahma approached him because he was more receptive for feedback, he was more submissive, he was more forgiving. One of the big words here is forgiveness. Okay, we have still some time. I think I will just end it soon and open it up for question. It could go on a lot longer actually. But the main thing is that if we compare the characters of Indra and Prithu, Prithu was detached, Indra was attached, Prithu was submissive, Indra was stubborn, Prithu was non-envious and forgiving, Indra was envious, feeling insecure and having hatred inside. Prithu was flexible and Indra was rigid. So, you know, Indra was externally very nice, like a renunciate, but internally he had hatred. So, yeah, it's no good, no good. So, yeah, and also a sacrifice is meant for actually Krishna's pleasure. So, there is a verse in...
So Indra is a person or is it a post?
Very good question. Anyone? It's a post.
Anyone can become Indra.
Anyone. And in fact, there are multiple Indras in different universes. Just as there are multiple...
Every Indra is like that? Like this Indra?
That's a very good and deep question. It is a pastime. I think that's a deep question. I think I would need to refer to someone more senior for answering that, because I don't know how Indra's exchange... Yeah, that's a very good. It got me thinking as well. I would need to refer to someone more senior than myself, but I think this has happened at least once. I don't know whether it's repeatedly happening. Actually, I will look it up myself because now you got me curious. But yeah, the thing is that it's a post, but also it's a person. So anyone can become Indra, as it was said. And in fact, sometimes when there is no qualified people to become Indra, Krishna himself assumes that post. Okay, running short on time, but there is one verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 3.9. Yagyartat karma nanyatra lokayam karma bandhanan tadartam karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. So the goal of every sacrifice is pleasing Krishna or Vishnu as his representative in the material world. So anyway, Vishnu was happy with 99, so why perform 100? And also, by performing 99, he was still like providing prosperity for his citizens. So Vishnu also became very much pleased, not just Brahma. So Vishnu actually appeared. And you know what? Vishnu actually appeared with someone. Yeah, who was that person? We just give someone, because you know too much. With whom did Vishnu appear? Kumaras? Someone else? 4 Kumaras? So actually the 4 Kumaras do appear later in the story when giving teachings to Prithu Maharaj. But this time, no. Actually, Vishnu brought Indra with himself to face these two conflicting personalities, great personalities originally. Yeah. So actually Indra was moved by Prithu Maharaj's character because of the forgiveness, because of the humility, because of these wonderful characteristics. Indra was moved. So actually he wanted to like fall flat on the ground to pay obeisances to Prithu Maharaj. But Prithu Maharaj, being an amazing personality, he didn't even let that happen. He just lifted Indra and embraced Indra. And so finally the conflict was resolved. Indra's heart was moved by Prithu's good characteristics. So that's one thing that I take away from the whole story, that sometimes in conflict, if we are nice to the other person, even though he's harsh or she's harsh with us, the other person might move. His heart might be transforming. Maybe slowly, maybe fastly, like depending on the situation. But I believe that it's actually happening. So that's also one lesson I take away from this episode. So yeah, then Vishnu was pleased with Prithu Maharaj, and he actually came on his carrier, but it wasn't like a car or airplane. In those times, it was an eagle. It was called Garuda. So typically, when Krishna would come with Garuda or Vishnu, He wouldn't even touch the ground. He would just stay on Garuda's back. But this time he was even touching the ground because he was moved.
About the sparrow near a sea, and she lost her eggs, and everyone became moved because she was begging to the ocean to get the eggs back. And then Garuda came, and by the grace of Garuda, the ocean becomes scared and got the eggs back.
Oh, yes. Thanks for sharing. Maybe we can expand on it more next time, or maybe later in the QA session. So the last question, we are really getting to the end of the class. So the last question, how can we develop these good qualities? What's exactly? Shravanam, Kirtanam. Does anyone know the 9 processes of devotional service? Hearing, chanting. Sorry? Crying. So actually it's Shravanam means hearing, Kirtanam, chanting, what we did before, Vishnu Smaranam, remembering Krishna, Pada Sevanam, serving the lotus feet of Krishna, Archanam, worship, Vandanam, offering prayers, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, becoming friend as well, Sakyam, Dasyam, servant, and what's the last one? I think you said it earlier, which is Atmanivedanam, surrendering everything to Krishna. So I think we are running out of time, so I will finish here. Hope you could take something away from this. If you have any questions, I don't know whether we have time. No, we don't have time. That was a trick from me. But there is a QA session later, which I will be present. Maybe Radha-London Ishvara Prabhu as well. Maybe you can ask your question to Radha-London Ishvara Prabhu, which I couldn't answer. So maybe see some of you later in the room for QA. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Here's Grace Gokul Chandra Prabhu ki. So thank you very much everyone for attending the class. Just have a few announcements and then we will serve the prasadam. So the first one, as usual, I am going to announce the announcement that the ISKCON UK Child Protection Officer has asked us to announce every week, and that is that all children under the age of 15 must be accompanied at all times while they are in this building by at least one adult. Okay? So please help us to protect our children by always accompanying them whilst you're here. Thank you. Apart from that, the other things that we need to announce is that, as Gokul Chandra Prabhu said, we will have a questions and answers session upstairs. 1, 2, 2 more floors. So on the 3rd floor, if you go up these stairs, you will find the VIP room there. And if you have any more questions about the class, or about Bhakti Yoga, or you want to know more about what is Krishna consciousness, or you want to know more about this temple, what we do here, if you have any questions at all, just come up and we'll try and answer them for you, myself and Gokul Chandra Prabhu, after you've taken the feast. So, apart from that, I just need to ask for some volunteers to help. Clean up the temple after prasadam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you very much. Great. Excellent. Okay. So, if everyone can sit in rows, it will make it easier to serve the prasadam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
I'm 14, so I can't take it. No.